Hey everybody, it's Mom of Two, Wife of One. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for your support, for all of my new subscribers, for the people who watching me for the first time. What's up? What's going on? So welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, definitely subscribe. Make sure you like this video, you comment, you share it, you click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the other videos that I post. And yeah, we got to get to it because there was so much foolery and just stuff that just didn't make any sense last night. So you can see from the title, we're talking about Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 6. It's too easy to start with Alyssa and Chris because they did have the most stuff going on, but I wanted to talk about some of the other couples first. We are going to get to Alyssa and Chris. I want to know how you guys feel. Like, what exactly are your emotions watching this show right now? Watching that couple specifically, is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it just disbelief? Is it funny to you? Do you know people in your life who are like Alyssa in real life? Like, definitely let me know. I'm very curious to know all the emotions that other people are going through watching the show with me. But saying all that, we're going to start with Lindsay and Mark. I'm glad that Lindsay and Mark have patched up. Last week they had a little bit of a tiff, but they seem to be on good standing right now. So the main thing that happened with them is Mark's landlord, who is a mother figure to him, was blowing his phone up while he's on the honeymoon, knowing that he's on the honeymoon, knowing he's away. While he's away, she decides to change his lease, raise the rent, and now he can't have cats. This is the couple that have 5 cats between them. So, of course, Lindsay is like, oh, you ain't doing that to my man. So she told him, like, I'm Mama Bear. I'm ready to swoop in. Let's figure this out. You don't got to deal with her no more. We're going to go there. We're going to get all of your stuff out, whatever we can. And you're coming back and we're going to share this apartment. And you don't got to see her ever again. Like, no, forget her. I hate that she did this to you. You don't deserve this. I know how much you do for other people. So, no, we're going to get you out of there. I like how Lindsay is already riding hard for Mark. But I feel like she's riding as hard as she is. A, I think that's her personality. But B, she can already tell in the 6 or 7 days that they've been married that Mark really puts so many other people and their feelings above his own. That he goes out of his way to care for a lot of different people in his life. And I'm glad that he has somebody who is ready to swoop in, sees that he's not taking care of himself, and is ready to take on that job right away. I really like that. And even though Lindsay has her issues and I may not be able to tolerate her for a long period of time, I really like that part of her personality, that she's ready to do that. Now, Mark's situation, he is, he admitted like, oh, it feels good. He was like, but at the same token, these are my responsibilities. And to Mark, I want to say this, and to other people, I want to say this too. It is never easy to allow somebody to help you. It's just not. But you have to understand that in not allowing people to help you, you are going to slowly drive yourself crazy. It's not easy to give the reins to somebody else, and I get it. And even though this is your wife, she's been your wife for all of 7 days, and you've known her for that same amount of time. So it does take some time. I've been married to my husband for over 8 years, and it took me a long time, probably about 5 or 6 years, before I started asking him for help with certain things because I was so used to doing it on my own. But you have somebody with you now, Mark. You have a partner, and whether you guys make it past the 8 weeks or not, at least in this moment, you guys are one. You're on one accord. Allow her to help you. Now, I do believe that when somebody helps you, you should have some boundaries set up. I agree with that, and I think that with Lindsay especially, because of her very big personality, boundaries are going to need to be put in place and enforced at every turn. But for now, all she's saying is, hey, you gotta deal with that no more. I got you. And they were already going to move to a new place anyway as part of the agreement for the show. So it wasn't a big deal. But that's basically what happened with them. I liked also that this is the first couple that has broached religion. I don't think any of the couples have expressed that they're deeply religious necessarily, but the fact that they talked about religion and they talked specifically about how they want to raise their kids in the church, how many kids they want. So I like the adult grown-up conversations that they're having beyond just like, oh, so where are we going to live? And oh, how do you want the house to look? I like that they're kind of digging deep. And again, when it's just the two of them, we get to see the nuances of Lindsay's personality. Yes, she is loud, and yes, she is full of energy, and she's this and she's that. But when it's just the two of them, both of them are quiet. They're quiet. They're lovey-dovey. They're there for each other. They are having the hard-hitting conversations, and they are genuinely listening to each other, which I really like. So I still really like them as a couple. I still have high hopes for them as a couple, but obviously, anything could change. But I do like them, and I think they're going to be okay. Olajuwon and Katina, I feel like I'm starting to like Olajuwon a little bit more. He couldn't be my husband. He's like way too much. So I don't think he'd ever be my husband. But as a man, I do feel like he is genuine in wanting to make Katina happy and in wanting to make his marriage successful. The whole horseback riding incident, like they went horseback riding, but he was like constantly pushing her, like, yo, you're going to be fine. You're going to do this, da, da, da. And on one hand, yes, sometimes we need someone to push us out of our comfort zone. On the other hand, there's a way to push somebody out of their comfort zone. Olajuwon, I feel like he only has two speeds. It's either 100 miles an hour or it's completely off. And Lindsay is the same way, which is probably why the two of them specifically had friction from the beginning. But you have to find a middle ground, especially when you're dealing with someone who is still learning all of your moves and someone with whom you don't know what their buttons are necessarily. So you need to kind of ease into situations, and you also need to figure out that middle ground when it comes to dealing with this person who is your wife. You may not be able to go 100 miles an hour when it comes to everything. If she's clearly scared, clearly uncomfortable, you have to read the room again. If she's like, yes, push me, and you see her getting comfortable and not being scared anymore, then you know that you're pushing her the right amount. If you see that she's retreating and getting pissed off at you, then you need to be like, okay, maybe I went too far. Let me pull back a little bit. And I feel like he is still learning how to do that. But I think Katina also isn't shy about telling him, like, yo, I wanted to punch you in your face and you need to back off. So I'm glad that he's with somebody that is going to kind of tell him like it is. But I don't know, with them, outside of that part of his personality, I still don't really have a good handle on Katina's personality. And I could be wrong. I mean, we saw that she is very vocal when she told off Lindsay last week or the week before that. So we know that she can stand up for herself. We know she'll stand up for a man or whatever. But other than that, I feel like I haven't heard enough of their conversation. I haven't heard enough deep things, I guess, in their conversation. And I think part of that reason is because Olajuwon is so much. He does most of the talking when we see them on camera. But I need more from Katina. Like, I want to know more about who she is, more about why Olajuwon likes her as much as he does. I feel like he likes her because that's his wife, not necessarily because, oh, Katina is this and this and this. Like, I want to see why they were matched, what they have in common, what she's bringing to the table, other than maybe calming him down. I don't really know what else she's bringing to the table in terms of personality. So I'm very curious. I'm sure we'll see that as weeks go on. And maybe I'm wrong and you guys are seeing something I'm not. But I'm just not, I just haven't seen that. So we shall see. Let's see. I'm looking at my notes. So if I look away, it's because I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. And yeah, that was kind of it with them. Okay, let's go to Listen, Chris. Like because Michael and Jasmina, I literally have nothing for them. They're still cute. I think they'll be okay. They're whatever. Listen, Chris, though. So the episode starts with Chris by himself in bed. Like, this is not how I thought my honeymoon would go. And he basically tells us that off camera, she's not talking to him. There's no even hint of her trying to, like I said before, if you feel like you guys are not compatible, okay. Granted, I don't think that's a fair assessment after 6 days, and you spend half that time not even talking to him. So I don't think that's fair, but whatever. You say you're not compatible. You say it's the expert's fault. You're clearly not attracted to him. That's fine. But you still want to be part of this experiment. So why can't you go through this experiment at least trying to be his friend? At least showing human decency and kindness to this person. I don't understand that part. You act like he actually did something to you intentionally or physically or whatever, like you're scared of him. He's done nothing to you. So, okay, you don't see this as a match. That's fine. But who's to say you guys can't walk out of this experiment being friends with each other? at least talking to each other, laughing with each other. He's not asking you for a kiss. He's not asking to hold your hand. He's not asking to come to your room. He's just saying, do stuff with me. Why is that so hard for you to do? That's the part I don't quite understand. No matter how you feel about the experts or whatever, I feel like that's just kind of the decent thing to do, because at the end of the day, you feel like you got a short end of the stick. Okay, fine, whatever. But you're still married to this guy who isn't getting the chance to spend any time with his wife. You're perfectly content to be at the pool by yourself. And she even told the producers, the only time I'm having a good time is when I am by myself or I'm with one of the girls. Now, mind you, we're going to get to the whole thing about one of the girls a little later, because she said that repeatedly, and we'll tackle that a little bit later. But regardless, we start their segment with him talking about, he basically said she's doing everything she can to not be a wife. So Chris, I feel like, has not shied away from things. And it sucks because it's not like he's not trying to talk to her. It's not like he's not trying to get answers from her. She is the queen of running away, physically getting up and walking away because she feels like she's being disrespected. He's being rude because he's trying to force her to talk about these things that she refuses to talk about. Answers that he deserves, because he still don't know what the heck's going on. She's just keeping her distance, keeps saying we're not compatible, but she's not giving him any examples whatsoever. He's confused. He don't know what to think. But fortunately, I'm doing a video right now, baby girl. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. But fortunately, I feel like he's starting to crack. He still has hope. I'm not sure why. But I feel like that's starting to crack a little bit, because he's seeing that, okay, it's one thing if a little bit of progress was being made, but there's none. Literally no progress has happened in the past few days. And what I hate is that they show him in bed looking sad and upset and frustrated. Then they cut to her, and this half is at the pool chilling. Like, oh, it's another beautiful day in paradise. Like, she's doing her own vlog. Like, she took herself on an Eat, Love, Pray trip to Puerto Rico, and now she's vlogging to all of her followers about how beautiful it is. Like, girl, you're on your honeymoon. You're not there on vacation. And she is so, as people in my group chat said last night, she's just incredibly delusional. And, like, there's no other word for it. Y'all, if y'all saw last night's episode, you understand the frustration. Like, literally at one point, I'm typing notes on my laptop, and she said something dumb, and I had to put my laptop down, and I was like, like, I just wanted to punch this chick in the face. Or push her, or do something, but I had such a physical reaction to her being this mean. For no reason. It's different if this person has pissed you off, if this person has talked bad about you, if this person has hurt you, if this person has done all kinds of things. Chris has been nice. He's been nice. He's been patient, but he's at the end of his rope, which I appreciate. I don't know how long we expected him to just kind of go along with it. It's like, no, like, I signed up to have a wife, not to have a roommate, not to have a stranger who don't want to talk to me. Like, what the freak? Are we going to keep doing this or not? Like, I need to know what's going on so I can move on with my life. I'm not mad at the brother. So I'm glad that he's at least being more vocal with her and putting herself in situations where she is forced to hear him out, right? So this is how bad it is. I think maybe once that I can remember in Married at First Sight history, the experts were called on the honeymoon. And you saw one of the wives or husbands calling the experts and talking to them on, like, FaceTime or whatever, because they were having issues. That's only happened once. Last night, that didn't necessarily happen, but it's so bad. The experts see everything that's going on. Even though we're always saying we're the experts, I don't understand. The experts tend not to interfere or intervene on the honeymoon, because it's like, hey, this is the perfect time for you guys to have fun, learn about each other, have those conversations one-on-one outside of work, outside of your friends from home, outside of your parents. It's just the two of you and the other couples. And so this is the time for you guys to really talk and, really vibe and all that stuff. So they tend not to intervene on the honeymoon, but they're kept abreast of everything that's happening. And because this is yet another season, and yet another episode where the producers are part of the cast again, the experts know everything that's happening. And so it's so bad with Alyssa and Chris that Pastor Cal came on the screen and he was like, we've been monitoring it, and it's disappointing that she is not trying to do any activities with him. And he clearly said it. He didn't say that they're not doing activities with each other. He said, we know that Alyssa is basically rejecting all of Chris's advances, not sexual advances, but just all of the attempts he's trying to make to do something with her. They're like, we know Alyssa's rejecting him. So we set up a friendly tennis match. You know, it's a little casual. It's the perfect time for them to get to know each other and blah, 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 blah. That sounds great in theory. She came down with a little stinking little attitude. And, you know, they played tennis. And there were so many things that they said that I was like, I don't understand. And Chris was like, yeah, you know, I'm having fun with her. He said she's fun-loving and a joy to be around. When? When do we see that? Is that when the cameras are off? Because you said when the camera's off, she's not even talking to you. So when is she fun-loving? I haven't seen that. Have y'all seen that? Maybe I missed something. Maybe I turned the channel. Maybe I blinked my eye and I missed it. I don't know, but I didn't see that. And then she was like, oh, I'm doing my very best. When? When are you doing your very best? Her whole thing is, I'm trying because I showed up and I am here. You're here because you have a free vacation away from everybody and you got to pay for nothing. Who's going to leave? Of course you're here. Of course you're staying. It has nothing to do with you trying. Who's going to give up a free vacation to Puerto Rico? All exclusive. Like, of course you're there. That doesn't make any sense. And she keeps using these buzzwords, but not giving any examples. It's very generic, very general. So after they play tennis, okay. They start a conversation and he's basically like, so once we leave here, we're supposed to be moving into the apartment together. How do you feel about that? She was like, I'm not comfortable doing it. And he knew she would say that. He was like, okay, well, I'm planning on moving into the apartment. And, you know, I'd love for you to be there, but I understand if you're not comfortable, like, that's fine. And she's like, well, you know, we didn't discuss this. So, you know, why? She said something like, we didn't discuss this. And, you know, I don't know if it's fair that you get to move to the apartment and I don't. And he was like, you can come. He was like, you're more than welcome to come. And he doesn't understand the problem because I know the apartments have 2 bedrooms. So you could easily come. He's basically like, you can come if you want to, but I'm planning to move in. And throughout the conversation, she gets pissed off again. And what does she do? She does what she does best, you guys. She got up and walked away. And who ran after her? The producers, because they're now officially part of the cast of Married at First Sight. That pisses me off just as much as she pisses me off as a person. The show was never meant to be like, I don't want to say other reality shows, but I guess kind of other reality shows. The producers are supposed to be behind the camera. Yes, maybe they're feeding lines. Yes, maybe they're starting the conversation with the couples to get, you know, good ratings or whatever. But they are not supposed to be seen. They're not supposed to be part of this process. We're not supposed to see them talking to any of the people, really. Especially not as often as they have been. They did it last week. They did it this time. This time was much worse. 2 of them were talking to Alyssa on the tennis court. And what bothers me is with her personality, she is very spoiled. She is very privileged. She loves attention. So, of course, when she walks away, quickly turns on her white woman tears, the men go running after her to make sure she's okay. That's exactly what she wants. For someone to feel her plight. For someone to feel sorry for her. Because I can't believe that I'm in this situation. I just don't understand. Like, what did I do to deserve this? I just feel robbed of this experience. That's what she wants. That's really all she wants. And look at my notes. I'm getting upset all over again. Okay, I put that she's mad that he wants to move into the apartment, but she doesn't want to live together. And I put, you know, did she expect to live there alone when he went back to his house? She's had too many people causing her in her life that she thinks everyone is supposed to basically bow down to whatever she wants. And I'm so tired of these producers running behind her, but I'm happy that one of them did tell her plainly, like, look, the point of this whole thing is to move in with your spouse. So they're giving her the real deal talk or whatever, but that's supposed to be coming from the experts, not from them. You guys are producers. Stay behind the camera. What are y'all doing? That makes me so mad. They've been doing this the past maybe 3 or 4 seasons where the producers have really been intervening. Like, y'all best friends with these people. Y'all don't know these people either. This is a job for y'all. Once this show leaves Boston, y'all moving on to the next job. I mean, I ain't never gonna talk to these people ever again, most likely. What are y'all doing? Leave that child alone. She want to act like a baby, let her act like a baby. I know you still want to get footage and all that good stuff. That doesn't mean you have to be in front of the camera. Just put the camera in her face and have her explain her situation. And this is how much of a brat Alyssa is, right? She's talking to them like, no, I just don't think it's fair. Like her whole thing with moving in. She said, I don't think it's fair that he wants to move in and I can't move in. That's A. He never said that you couldn't. He said that you're more than welcome to, but she doesn't want to share the apartment. And then the other thing she said is, I want to have this experience, not be a part of this experiment, not have this marriage. I want to have the experience of being there with everybody else. I want to be in the apartment because I really love the girls and I want to hang out with the girls. So if I don't move to the apartment and they call me to hang out, I can't go. You're not there for the girls. A. B. You don't love the girls. You've known them as long as you've known Chris. 6 days. C. They're moving in with their husbands. That's their priority. They're not worried about calling you up to hang out. They're worried about moving in with their husbands and starting their marriages, because all of the rest of the couples, that is their focus. Ain't nobody worried about you. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm not going to see Alyssa. Ain't nobody thinking about you. Not a one. They're focused on their marriage because that's why they're moving in with their spouses like you're supposed to be doing. D. She's like, oh, if they want me to come over, I can't come over. They're still in Boston with you. You live in the same city as them. Why can't you go over there? Don't you have a car? You can't just drive. They don't live in a gated community. Even if they did live in a gated community, they can open the gate for you. What are you talking about? You can still go over there for girls' night if you want to and hang out with these heifers if you need to. But like, they're not moving to another state and you're never going to see them again. I was so confused by that. Like, what? But in her mind, signing up for the show means meeting new people, and it means moving into an apartment. It means going on an all exclusive, paid exclusive, whatever, vacation or honeymoon. It means eventually after a month or a couple months, going on another retreat with them somewhere fun to do fun activities and play games. In her mind, that's what she wants to get out of this whole thing. But one, obviously that's delusional. We already know that. But two, she also keeps kind of putting what she wants on Chris, meaning she's operating under the assumption that he's viewing the situation the same way she is. That he is just as disappointed with the experts. That he is just as disappointed in who he has as a wife. That he is just as upset that this did not work for him. Now, granted, I'm sure he's upset about the latter, that is not working out for him, but he's not viewing this the way she is. And I don't think she's picked up on that at all. Because she, a couple of times talking to all the couples, she was saying like, we feel like we want to get the best out of this experience and da-da-da. And it's like, no, he's still trying to be married to you. He sees that you guys are compatible even though you don't. He is actively trying because he keeps hitting you up to do activities on the honeymoon so he can get to know you better. As mean as you've been acting to him, even though you are a good person, just because you say you are a good person does not make it so. Somebody has to give you that title of good person. You giving yourself that title does not mean that it's true. And I don't know if she's trying to convince us, trying to convince the other couples, trying to convince Chris, or trying to convince herself. We all see you though. And everybody's telling you the exact same thing. So if you're the only person who feels sorry for you, even though you've told your sob story to a couple of other people, at some point you would think she'd be like, not one person is on my side. I don't really want to put it that way, but not one person is as incensed as I am, or as disappointed as I am, everybody is kind of telling me the same thing, that I need to talk to Chris, that I need to be open and honest with him, that I need to give it a try, that I didn't fairly give him a chance. If every single person is telling me this, from the producers to her mama to Jasmine and Katina to Jasmina and Katina, then at some point you need to listen to everybody else. If everybody's saying the exact same thing, at some point you need to listen and actually talk to Chris. That hasn't crossed her mind. It's still, woe is me. I can't believe they did this to me. How could they do this to me? All I wanted was a husband. Now I can't live in the apartment. I can't hang with my girls. I don't understand. Why? It's a lot. It's a lot. Let me look at I put that she is so quick with the tears, and it is exhausting to watch her. It really is so exhausting, because it's like nothing that anyone says is getting through to you. You are still content to believe that you are trying because you are here. Again, you're not going to go home. And she told Chris a couple times, I could have gone home yesterday. It's like, why would you do that? You're still on your free trip. You still got 2 more days of this free trip. So why would you leave early? You can't say I'm here when he has to beg you to do anything with him. So how are you here? Here meaning on the island? Here meaning at the resort? That's the only here that you can really, that I can agree with. That yes, you are physically there in the resort, the same resort as your husband. But you don't want to use that word. You are, yes, physically there in the same resort as your husband. However, mentally, you are not here. Because you are not trying. You are not showing up. He has to constantly, the experts had to intervene while you're on vacation to force you to have a tennis match with your freaking husband, because you keep telling him no when he tries to do anything with you. So like, how are you really trying, sis? I don't get it. And then Chris said, he was like, he said, what she expects me to do doesn't line up with what is best for both of us. And I think that's a little selfish. It's like, a little, are you crazy? Oh, and then she's like talking to the producers while they're on the tennis court. And Chris is talking to another producer. Again, they're just in this thing. At this point, what it feels like to me is Chris and Alyssa are 2 actors looking to the directors to get direction on what they should say and do next. Because they keep breaking the fourth wall, like, no, you guys don't understand. And you're supposed to pretend the cameras are not there. It's the 2 of you guys. She barely looks at Chris when he talks. So she's just so disgusted by his face and by everything about him. He's talking to the producer and he's like pointing or something. She's like, ew, look at his hands. Like, he's just pointing. He's just so aggressive. Ew. You are a child. You are a spoiled brat, and you are a child. I don't know what else to tell you. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. That is exactly what you are. That is exactly how you're behaving. Nobody says that you have to sleep with him, stay in the same bed as him, kiss him, hug him, touch him. Nobody's telling you to do any of those things. You're not comfortable doing that, fine. All people are asking you to do is to actually have a conversation with Chris. That's it. And for some reason, you can't even do that, because you've already made up in your mind that we're not compatible. This isn't going to work out. I'm wasting my time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enjoy whatever time I have left within these next 8 weeks. And I'm going to go to the pool. I'm going to hang out with the girls. I'm going to move into this nice apartment, and I'm going to do this free honeymoon. That's what you have decided in your head. The problem is you're not communicating any of this to Chris. All you've told him is that we're not compatible, so let's make the best out of the situation. Assuming he's going to be on the same page as you, but he's not. He's made it clear that he's not. So I'm so confused. So, and then Chris called his sister to get advice from her, and she basically was like, well, based off what you told me, you need to cut your losses. I was like, yeah. And Mark said the same thing. So this is what I thought was interesting. Up to this point, Chris hadn't confided in any of the other grooms what's been going on. And I've been waiting for him to, because I was very curious to hear their feedback on the whole thing. So Chris talks to Mark and Lindsay, which I don't know if it was the best idea. Lindsay already doesn't care for Alyssa from the bachelorette party. So I was like, I don't know if that's wise. But either way, he talked to Mark and Lindsay. And then Alyssa talked to Jasmine and Katina. Now, Jasmine and Katina basically told her what everybody else has been telling her. You need to talk to Chris. It seems like you haven't really sat down and told him anything. You know, you can't really, because she keeps saying like, well, I heard his groomsmen say some things and I didn't like what they had to say. And it just really kind of just, it set me off. And it let me know that we don't have the same values or the same morals or the same whatever. Okay. But Katina told her, okay, but you didn't tell Chris what they said. You didn't ask Chris if it was true. You didn't give Chris the benefit of the doubt to either refute what they were saying or to say, hey, well, let's talk about this. I'm willing to make some changes for you. You didn't even give him that chance. So maybe at the very least, you need to talk to him. And you know it's bad when after hearing her talk and her saying, you know, it just sucks because, you know, I'm happy for you guys, but I wish I had that. And again, because she's the victim. But you know it's bad when after she tells her spiel and tells a little sob story, Jasmina does a little talking head and she's like, honestly, I feel really bad for Chris. That tells you something. If you're listening to the person who's claiming themselves as a victim and basically saying, woe is me and I feel bad and I wish that I'd gotten this and I wish I had what you guys had. But at the end of that conversation, you feel bad for her husband and not for her. That means something. That means a whole heck of a lot. That means they can kind of see through her and see, if nothing else, that she has not really tried. So they've told her that you haven't really tried. You're not talking to him, and that's not cool. Like, you need to at least talk to him. They said things a lot nicer than I would have, but I also think it's a matter of, you know, they've known her as long as they've known each other, as long as they've known their husbands. And so they don't have that familiarity with her yet to really tell her like it is. And truthfully, I don't know if her friends are those kind of friends either, because my husband made a good point. He was like, if she's that nasty and that mean to someone who's done nothing to her, this most likely is just part of her regular personality, which means the girls that she supposedly has back home, they're probably just like her. They're probably mean girls too. I was like, you know what? That is a valid point. Most likely, and if they are, they're not going to see anything wrong with her behavior, though. When Chris told the best friend at the breakfast brunch or the after breakfast brunch what has been going on, and by that point it wasn't a lot, but he basically was like, you know, she's pulled away. She says not compatible, blah, blah, blah. She and all of her friends have been telling Chris, hey, you're exactly what she needs. She's quick to cry. She's quick to have an attitude. She's quick to walk away. She needs somebody who's going to be patient with her, who's going to force her to face things head on, and blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good if they believe that you're exactly what she needs. But if she's not willing to allow him to be what she needs, then it's all a moot point. And as nice as Chris is, everybody has their limit. Nobody's trying to get kicked around forever. And it hasn't been forever. It's been 6-7 days. That's enough. Because he hasn't even seen a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of her trying. There's been nothing. Yes, she joined you for paddleboarding. Yes, she came with you when you did the whole scuba diving, snorkeling thing. She didn't get in there with you, but she at least walked to the area with you. Yes, she did the tennis match. That's only because the experts made her. Other than that, they've had no dinners together. Everybody else has had dinner date or something. They've had no dinners together. They have had no time for just to be the two of them to really have a nice conversation. So I don't know what he's supposed to do. I really don't. And oh gosh. And then after the tennis match, like I said, she was already crying with two producers. And then later that evening, before they have the group dinner with everybody else, now she's outside crying to 3 more producers. Like, it's just not fair that he wants to move in and I can't move in. And just crying and just sobbing. And I can't believe it. I hate Chris. He is rude. He is disgusting. He is disrespectful. Now my mom is mad at me because she says I'm going to come off a certain way. I'm a good effing person. Again, just because you say it, baby, don't make it true. You can say you're a unicorn. I don't mean you are. She is so infuriating. And she is so like, ugh. And they need to stop running after this girl. Now I'm talking to producers now. Stop running after this girl. If you really want to piss her off, because she just wants attention. If you really want to piss her off, when she gets upset next time and she walks away, don't follow her. Don't run after her. Keep the cameras on Chris. Note Chris's reaction, have him talk, give him his time to say his piece. You can show a camera far away showing her walking quicker and quicker away. That's fine. Don't even go over there and talk to her, though. That's exactly what she's waiting for. And just once, I want to see her and Chris having a conversation, and I want to see him get up and walk away from her. Not that it would do anything, but I think for me, it would just give me a small sense of satisfaction that he got to be the one to walk away and just with indignation, like, you know what? This is pointless. You're a liar. You're selfish. This is going nowhere. So I'm going to walk away from you before I say something I regret. And then just walk off and do a mic drop. I want to see him do that just one time. That would just bring me an immense amount of pleasure. Like, yeah, Chris, yeah. He's not going to do that because it's too nice. But he is at least going to like tell it like it is. The best part of this episode was that group dinner. Oh, all 5 couples got together to have dinner for their last night in Puerto Rico. And they're going around talking about what they've learned, any bumps in the road they've experienced so far. And then they talked about, moving in and what are you guys going to do about moving in? And I was like, why are y'all asking these questions? But I know they have to ask the questions. Like, I get it. So they first talk about, bumps in the road. And Alyssa was like, well, we're good. And Chris is really quiet. She's like, we're good. We understand the situation. And even though the situation sucks for both of us, we're just going to try to make the best out of the situation and just try to, still have fun. Very much saying a lot, but not saying absolutely anything at all. So then they get around to talking about moving in, and is everybody excited about moving in? What do you guys think? And they get to Chris and Alyssa. Now, mind you, the conversation that Chris and Alyssa had, Alyssa said, I'm not comfortable moving in with you. Chris said, okay, well, I'm still moving into the place. She got pissed off because, I want to be there and I want to have the experience. And he said, you can come. She said, whatever. She's pissed off. So she announces at the table like, I was thinking that Chris could live there part of the time, like half the time. And then I could move there the other half of the time because we both want to have that experience. And, I think it'd be nice if we both got the opportunity to be there, basically. And I would have loved, after she said that, I would have loved to hear the talking head from one of the grooms like, wait a minute, what is she talking about? They all were just looking like kind of confused. And Chris was the OG in this moment. He wasn't my MVP. I'm going to tell you the MVP was in a minute. But he was my OG in this moment because she fully expected him, I'm sure, to not say anything, let her talk. He was like, you know what? No. He was like, well, I hadn't heard that strategy before. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. I basically no, we're not doing that. And he gave the perfect analogy. He was like, she's looking to split time with me like we're divorced parents and the kids are like the other couples. And he told the couples, he was like, hey, I love all of you, but I didn't come here for you guys. So me moving in is not dependent on me wanting to see you guys and hang out with you. You guys are cool, but that's not why I signed up for this. I signed up to have a wife. And he basically put it on the line for her. He was like, I need to know if you are all in or all out. If you are all out, then I'm all out with you. If you're even 1% in, then I'm 100% in. That I do not agree with at all. Not even a little bit. 1% in is nothing. 1% in was showing up to the wedding. It was letting her kiss you at the altar, whatever. That was 1%. Since then, there has been nothing. And that's what he said, like, I'm not going to put more into this if I'm getting 0 back. But don't sell yourself short and be like, I'm going to put my all in if you just show me 1%. That reeks of desperation. And I guess in his mind, she needs to move slow. That's too freaking slow. That wouldn't even give her that chance of 1% in or out. No. Yes or no. You tell me right now. Even though her actions have already clearly said no, like that's not enough. So I didn't like that he said that, because again, it just reeks of desperation that you want even the smallest amount of effort and you immediately gonna be like, yes, okay, I have a wife. No, you don't. That's not what you have right now. You have a woman who does not want anything to do with you, and you should not want to be around somebody who don't want nothing to do with you. Like, it's not fair to Chris at all, and I want him to have a little more respect for himself than that. And the thing is, when I tell you, it's the funniest scene because you have to look at the facial expressions of all the other couples. Katina and Lindsay specifically have no poker faces. Like, they were just kind of laughing behind their hands and looking like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And Elijah wanted the talking head. He was like, she is out of her mind. And it was just so, it was amusing, but it was like, I'm sure she was like, how dare you put me on the spot in front of everybody? I get that, because nobody wants to be embarrassed. However, he knows that if he tries to have a conversation with you not off camera, but away from everybody else, all you're going to do is get up and walk away. If you're around everybody else, you're not just going to get up and walk away, because it will make you look like the bad person. And you're so consumed with looking like a good person and being a good person on camera that he knew, if I confront you with all these people, you're gonna basically sit here. Now, granted, she still did not give him any answers whatsoever, and that is the most heartbreaking part, is that all he wants is a yes or no. You can say, I'm not ready to answer that. I just think I can answer that later. I'm just not ready for it. And it's like, girl, and her tears, right on the cue. The tears are flowing. You guys, it's really hard for me. It's harder for Chris. I have no sympathy for you whatsoever, because you're not even trying, like none. And not giving him any answers at all. It was frustrating. And they did talking heads with, and actually not even just talking heads. After the dinner was over, they talked to Lindsay and Marco. They showed Lindsay and Mark talking about the situation. And Lindsay and Marco on the same page, like, yo, she does not deserve him. And he's better off kind of cutting his ties, because she's not a great person. She's mean, and that's not cool. And Elijah was like, yo, he is pouring his heart out to her. He is showing what a husband is supposed to do, putting himself on the line, putting himself out there just to make her happy. And she's not even like reciprocating, like, yo, that's just really messed up. And Jasmina, spoke up a couple times as well. But one thing I didn't like, at the dinner, after he's trying to confront her and she's like turning on the waterworks, Katina and Jasmina were like, it's okay, Lindsay, it's all right. I mean, Lindsay, was saying, it's okay, Alyssa, it's all right. They're like, well, Chris, maybe, she just needs some time. We talked to her earlier, and she said that she is willing to answer any and all questions that you have. And I was like, I don't remember her saying that in her conversation with them. And they must not know, they can't know, that every time he does try to talk to her, that she walks away. They cannot know that she doesn't talk to him when the cameras are not on. Because I'm sure she would never tell them that, because that wouldn't paint her in a good light. So they don't know this stuff. So he's looking at them like, she didn't answer no daggone question. She lied to y'all. She fooling y'all. But then they're alone again after dinner, Alyssa and Chris. And he's still trying to get answers from her. And one thing she keeps saying is, I heard things, I didn't like the things I heard, and because of the things I heard, we have nothing in common. But she's never physically told him any specifics. So he told her, he was like, do you believe that you've really talked to me about what the problem is? And she's like, yeah, we talk all the time. And he's like, well, give me an example of what one of those things is. Putting her on the spot, because again, he knows we ain't talked about Jack, because you barely talk to me. So you have never given me one example of something you have heard or seen that has made you think I'm not a good match for you. Not one. So I love that he asked her point blank, like, oh, give me an example of what one of those things was. And she was like, in my mental state right now, I can't think of something. Like, of course you can't. I don't buy that for a minute. You've been mulling over these things for the past 5 days. And if you were as direct and honest as you claim to be in your vows, you would have said something to him on the wedding night. But you haven't. For the past 5 or 6 days, you've already made up in your mind who this guy is. I hate him. He's awful. Blah, 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 blah. And if that was the case, you would have flown home. You either would have flown home already or you would have never gone on the honeymoon. If you really made up your mind on the wedding day or wedding night, you would have never taken the time to go on that honeymoon. You would have stayed home. But you went because you wanted a free trip. You had no intention of going on this honeymoon and actually trying, actually talking to him, actually doing any activities whatsoever. That was never your intention. She sucks. And it was so annoying to watch. Like, it was annoying. Obviously felt bad for Chris, but I was happy that he kind of stood up for himself, even if I didn't appreciate all the way he stood up for himself. But I will tell you, the MVP of that dinner was Steve and Noy. And I say that because all the other couples at some point were involved with Chris and Alyssa, whether Alyssa and Chris talked to them separately or they made comments at the dinner table. Noy and Steve minded their business completely. They weren't interviewed about Alyssa and Chris. They didn't make no comments on them. They didn't talk about it afterwards when the dinner was over. Half the episode, it was just the two of them anyway. They weren't doing nothing with nobody else. The rest of the episode, all the couples did do something on their own. But at some point, they met up with a couple girls. They met up with another couple before they did the group thing. So they still hung out together. Steve and Noy were like, you know what? This is our honeymoon. We're here to learn each other. They cool, but we can talk to them anytime. It's about me and you. So they spent most of the episode with just the two of them together. So they were my MVP because they minded their own business. They were like, oh, we're sorry, Alyssa. Oh, we're sorry, Chris. Well, okay, dinner was over. Good night, y'all. See y'all on the plane tomorrow, because we're still about our business and our relationship. That is our priority. That was the episode last night, you guys. Episode 6, season 14 of Married at First Sight. Drop your comments below, y'all. Let's talk about this situation. What needs to take place? Like, really, what is the solution here? Is there a solution? One thing I am looking forward to, Pastor Cal is talking to them. I think he's talking to them next week. He is... all the experts, really, and really Dr. Pepper is the one I really want to talk to Alyssa, because Dr. Pepper will get them together, and she has not punch cards. She's not soft with her words, I should say. Pastor Cal can kind of get people together too, so I'm very much looking forward to Pastor Cal talking to them one-on-one and really putting Alyssa in her place. That's what I really, really want the experts to do. But I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys are great and have a wonderful week. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe, comment, do all those wonderful things. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.